Good morning. Thank you very much for coming. I know it's an unexpected short week this week, which means that time's at a premium. So I really appreciate the fact that you're all able to join us. So thank you very much. So the talk today is about redefining the past for the future. And actually I was thinking about the title earlier today and thinking how interesting it is that we're discussing this at a time where things have happened with the Queen in this country, in terms of this is something that goes throughout different spheres, and as well as the monarchy, it also happens in interior design. So to discuss this with us today is Monique Tollgård, sort of co-founder.
That's right. Name on the door. That door.
co-founder of Tollgard, and of course Gianluca Ceccotti, who is third generation.
Third, yes.
Of the wonderful Italian company. The company, I'm sure you already know, is sort of renowned for its beautiful furniture with attention to craftsmanship, history, heritage, and a timeless appeal that that is really it transcends years and is as relevant 50 years ago as it is today. And I think, Gianluca, can you just tell us a little bit about the company?
Yeah, the company is an Italian company, as born in 1956. Founded my grandfather, is a perfect example of a company born in a riverbed of the family, so mainly driven by passion. My grandfather started with a small workshop, working the wood, working the furniture, and then we had the opportunity to start working in the contract business, and we became one of the first company in Italy working with 4 and 5 star hotel furnishings. Then my uncle Franco Ceccotti, who is the founder of Ceccotti Collezioni and the art director of Ceccotti Collezioni, joined the company in 1986. And together with Roberto Lazzaroni, who has been our main designer for over 20 years, he presented Ceccotti Collezioni for the first time in 1998 in the Salone del Mobile. So starting from that, we became one of the leading company in the interior design industry, known for high quality furniture made in solid wood. Until the company has been acquired by a lifestyle design group. It's the most important Italian group working with companies like Cassina, Poltrona Frau, Cappellini. And then we had the opportunity to improve ourselves in many aspects: technology, spaces, human resources. So that's more or less a brief story of the company.
So I mean, Italy is the home of beautiful design. So what is it about Ceccotti that sort of sets itself apart? What has given it its longevity?
Well, first of all, I think is the territory to which we belong. Tuscany and Cascina is a town. It's a very small town nestled between Pisa and Florence. This area has a great history in construction of furniture, high quality furniture. Historically, it's very famous, like Brianza area near Milan. And this is thanks to a school of art, which this year is celebrating 150 years of history, where students are prepared to become carpenters. And we cooperate with this school by organizing courses in which the students start working in the company alongside the old carpenters, more skilled carpenters. So in this way, we assure that this professionalism, the carpentry, is ended up to the future, to the next generation. So it is something that is surviving with the time.
Sorry, now I was just going to say, but don't you think that art school is what you see in these pieces? When I look at the Double Rêve du Printemps, that bench over there, it says Dali, it says art. It's something different to Brianza, I feel.
Yes, that's thanks to the craft, to the quality of our carpenters,
and the mind of Franco.
And the mind of Roberto Lazzeroni, mainly, who designed this piece.
What are the influences, do you feel?
Well, the collection, many pieces are inspired by the Scandinavian design, or like, for example, this is clearly inspired to the surrealistic design of Gaudi, but we have other pieces closer to the rationalism of Molino. So the collection is very various. Of course, we took inspiration from different design history. I think that Ceccotti is the perfect, let's say, example of the Italian industrialism. Where more moved to the craft than to the technology, to the industry, where machines have a growing role, but still very integrated with manual intervention.
Yes, they assist rather than take over.
Exactly. It's not is a tool. The machine is a tool, is not the end.
Yes.
And that's, I think, is a very important concept.
So Monique, how, obviously you sort of co-founder of this beautiful showroom, and sort of holding sort of the collection here. What is it about you that sort of drew you to the pieces?
Steph, I was like reaching back into my mind. When did you start, telling me about Ceccotti? Because we started 17 years ago as a company, but really in interior design. So trying to answer our clients' questions of living with pieces that had already been designed. And so the first time he went to Saloni in Milan, I wasn't with him. And I think I came maybe the third or fourth time. So it was around 2011 that he first entered the world of Ceccotti. And I really say it very much like that, because you're in, room after room, hall after hall. There's too much design, actually. In Milan, and you're too tired, and you struggle to hold on to something, and then you walk into, I still remember when I first went, you walk in and it's almost like the 21st century hushes, and now you're in a different world. And somehow pieces that have come, almost from the future. When I first saw the 22 chair, which is, you'll have to have a seat in it, I thought, but this is from the future and from the past. I've somehow seen this before, and yet I know it will live in the future. And it was totally inspiring, and we just thought that for the right clients, this world will speak to them. And so shortly after that, I had a wonderful client who just adored design, and so we were able to do his whole reception room, 222 chairs, the DC sofa, the flying circles, because he wanted the world. As soon as we'd explained it to him how it was so different, he was in. And so then a few years later, when we were able to, do a monobrand with Ceccotti, it was like coming home. Actually, like, right, now we can have a little piece of this world here in London.
What was it about? Were there sort of particular things about Ceccotti's ethos and their approach to design?
Passion and family values, and doing it because you want to do it. I mean, every person that I met when we went to the factory now, I hadn't been, I was so jealous. So we went in May. You can tell the pride of every person working in the workshop. They'd stop, show you, explain to you. To have that going through your whole ethos as a company, I think is extraordinary. And
and you sort of talked before about sort of the marrying of newer people sort of coming into the business and learning techniques alongside the older generation. And I think that actually, in some ways, that sort of signifies your work in general. It's about the past and it's about the future, and it's about blending them together.
Exactly. It's young carpenters are anyhow always trying to find a better way to do that specific process. It's an exchange of values. It's an exchange of experience, and that we are very proud because for us, manual work and craftsmanship are two very important concepts that I think is the most authentic values for the humanity, for creativity.
And the preservation of them is so important, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So tell us a bit about the Masters Tribute collection as a whole.
Yeah, it's a collection of re-edition that we launched in Salone del Mobile this year. The first time that we approached this argument was in 2015 with the gentleman wardrobe. But it's funny because this happened by chance, because my uncle Franco Ceccotti is a very expert of design. He's very passionate about design. He spent his time going into local markets or local antique shop to buy things for himself. So for us, it was not really difficult to approach this argument of re-edition. And in 2015, he bought this wardrobe, the original piece, in a market in Lucca. And during the restoration, we discovered out that this was originally designed by Guglielmo Ulrich. So starting from them, we asked Guglielmo, the heirs of Guglielmo, to have the possibility to re-edit this wardrobe, and we have done it in a limited edition series for worldwide distribution. So starting from this, also we were asked by Poltrona Frau that already they have a few items designed from Gianfranco Frattini in their collection to do this collection of re-edition. So we have presented two pieces. One is the nose desk designed by Gianfranco Frattini in 1957, and the Stellage armchair, Stellage 52, that's the armchair where you are sitting on, designed by Gabetti and Isola Ranieri. So we had these two pieces that we presented.
Yeah. What was the general experience of designing? Because there is always a sort of a weight of the history, and sort of that's very important, and trying to preserve that, but while making it, sort of suitable for now.
Yeah. For us was of course a great honor, and all the let's say the carpentry team approached this with a great respect. To the designer who originally conceived those items, but at the same time with the intention to improve these items, especially from a construction point of view. So this was our main aim. It was quite easy with the nose desk because we had a sample in the company from my uncle. He bought himself. So it was easy to replicate the proportion and the dimension. A little bit more difficult with this armchair.
Yes, I was going to say that
because the construction we had to face. We have to use all our know-how to resolve some technical issue related to the stability that the original piece had.
So did you lose sleep? So sort of just trying to sort of considering, my goodness, I do not want to lose the integrity of this piece. I do not want to be responsible. I don't want to be responsible for messing up this piece.
Yeah, exactly.
It'd be quite a responsibility.
All the decisions have to be made with the heirs, both of Gianfranco Frattini, Marco and Emanuela, and Ludovico Gabetti for the armchair.
But would you say that almost the chair was almost unmakeable?
Yes.
With the technology of the time?
Exactly. That's.
And then, do you know the play Arcadia by Tom Stoppard?
I haven't seen
so
it.
It's set in two different time periods, and you see 200 years ago this tutor and his student sort of watching her brother discover chaos theory, but obviously he doesn't know what chaos theory is, right? Because there was no language 200 years ago for what he was seeing. And so she gets so upset at one point about this idea that, you know, the Library of Alexandria was burnt and all of this information was lost, and where would we be had we had it? And he said, but I'm sorry, if all of Archimedes was contained in the Library of Alexandria, do you think we'd be at a loss for a corkscrew? We're on this march, we're travelers who have to pick things up, we can't hold everything, so we'll drop it. But people behind us on the march will pick it up.
Yeah.
And so nothing is lost because the march is long, time is short, but there's nothing outside the march. And when I was thinking about this piece, that they saw it, but they couldn't make it.
Exactly.
And then your uncle saw it again.
Yes,
and picked it up and put it into the present.
Yes, he was very enthusiastic with the intention to take and to repropose this armchair for future generation, because Stellage was this. I'm introducing also the next argument.
Yes.
Item that we are presenting also here today. This is a beautiful armchair. Is a beautiful example of neo-liberty style.
This is the Stellage 52, which I have the honour of sitting on. And actually, I'll just, sorry to interrupt, I'll just say that I sort of read about the piece sort of a few months sort of back, just sort of knowing that it was sort of sort of coming back into production, and I featured it in the World of Interiors in the September issue, and this was long before we had this discussion about doing this, so it's not actually related, but because when I read about it and just the historical sort of factors and really how it has been worked on and the sort of the quality and the craftsmanship of it, I was so impressed as a journalist that I just thought, my goodness, I have to feature this. And it's quite sort of insanely, then I ended up in this position, sitting on the chair that I wrote about and having this conversation, and none of that was planned at all. So I do actually feel quite honoured to be sitting there and sitting here, and sort of, I'd love to hear more about how this has come about.
Yes, I'm sure that was designed 70 years ago. So if you look at this, you will never say that it's 70 years old.
It's timeless.
Yeah.
And it was designed by, as I said, Gabetti Isola Ranieri. It's a design studio from Turin. And Stellage takes the name of a contest that they won for the designing of the building of the Stock Exchange in Turin in 1952. This studio, they were quite known in Italy for architecture, but not for furniture. But for this specific project, they were asked to design also the furniture inside. So this is part of a small set of furniture they designed for the Stock Exchange. And it's a beautiful example of the neo-realism of those times.
And it's very comfortable.
Yeah, it's very comfortable.
Which actually is a prime function of a good chair.
As I was saying before, it's differently for many of the re-edition that you can see now around, this actually was, this is a new design, because no company produced this for a mass production, This was produced by local carpenters for that specific project, and then forget, So maybe because it was so complex to realize that we think this is the reason why. So my uncle Franco Ceccotti, he knew this design, he appreciated, and when he realized that he could take it and re-edited this chair, he was very enthusiastic. Yeah. I tell you a story that is very funny. Of course, we had a sample of this, and Ludovico Gabetti, together with the architect Pellegrino, who is the administrator of the rights of the design, took this chair in our company with a car from Turin to Cascina. There are only few samples left. One is in MoMA of New York. It's parts of the permanent collection of MoMA New York. One was in the house of the architect Pellegrino, and this is the one that they took in our company. Right. And my aunt, you know, Franco, he was waiting for them at the door of the company, you know. Yeah. And when the chair was taken out, the trunk of the car, he immediately jumped towards the armchair, embracing like a baby, and he took the armchair to the prototypation department. Yeah. And Ludovico Gabetti recalls this episode with sympathy, because he remembered this man, Franco, not even say hello to the people.
Just hugging the chair.
But went directly and took the chair and bring in the. So that's to let you understand the way that we usually approach this kind of challenging project. And another thing that is we really appreciate is that basically this armchair have been presented in late May, so before the Salone in Turin, because we opened a flagship store in Turin, so we thought that was the perfect occasion to present this armchair, because we were taking back the armchair where it has born,
Yeah.
And we had the opportunity to get inside the stock exchange, because now the stock exchange is closed. It's been from the 90s. It's closed. So we had the opportunity to go inside with the press, with the Ceccotti Collezioni team, with Franco Ceccotti and Ludovico Gabetti, and we present this chair with the crowd inside the building where this chair was more than 70 years ago. You know, so. Was very emotional for everyone.
That's wonderful.
It's a wonderful story. What were the specific challenges you had making this?
In particular, the back part and the side basically is supported by itself. There is no connection with the seat, so we had to think about a support, an internal support. There is a metal support going around the back of the chair to resolve this kind of problem of stability, because the original chair they were all broken. So we had to think about how to get this. And we are very also happy because lately we also get the certification. The name is CATAS, so that we can also propose this armchair for public spaces. So it's it was very good for us. It's a challenge that we won.
Well,
we are very happy about that.
Yeah, I mean that's a sort of a huge challenge.
Yeah.
And congratulations for actually overcoming it.
Thank you.
How do you look to? I mean, we've talked a lot about the sort of the past 70 years.
Yeah.
How do you see it going forward? Dare we look to the next 70 years in terms of how it will fare?
Well, I hope that Ceccotti will be still there. I think so, because as I told you today, Ceccotti Collezioni identify its meaning, its aesthetic research, its design research, its future in craftsmanship. And craftsmanship for us, it's a very important concept. It's creativity, and I think that when I tell to our client our product is made, you know. Like for example, the RDP. This is a piece that
that's absolutely
it's
stunning
amazing.
Piece.
It has a 4-month production time. You know, it's going around the production for 4 months, starting from the preparation of the raw material to the final product. So this product has to have a soul, you know, because it's touched by 100 hands. Wow. Everyone is giving something to this piece. So this is something that is important, you know, and I think that cannot be forgotten in the future, you know. So I think that the secret for a company like Ceccotti for the future of design, like you were saying before, it's to maintain a kind of balance between the technology, which is going forward, you know, in and the manual works and the craftsmanship. So craftsmanship have to be at the center always, you know, and the machine have to serve the craftsmanship to be maybe faster, to be also more secure, because also there's this kind of concept, you know, that when you are handling a piece of wood, so you have to be safe, you know, more. So I think this is the secret for the design. So and hopefully for Ceccotti Collezioni, you know, to keep on producing pieces with our craftsmanship.
And that's, I mean, that's why we're having this discussion. This is all part of sort of the focus theme, which is a celebration of brands that are rooted in craftsmanship and sort of exquisiteness, essentially, and which Ceccotti is very much so. You touched on the sort of production process of a piece like this. Now, sustainability is a very big part of interiors now. What have you, I know all your wood's sustainable, is that right?
Yeah, we at Ceccotti Collezioni, as part of the lifestyle design group, the group is owned by Americans, so they daily pushed us to find the more sustainable way to approach our production cycle, you know. So we always has combined the excellence and quality of our products with an environmental sustainability, starting from the sourcing of the wood. We buy our wood in the United States. The main wood that we use is American walnut. We buy in Pennsylvania from plantation which are responsibly managed. So our supplier, they have all kind of certification, and in particular that it means that every wood that is cut, other trees are planted to support the recycling and the reforestation, and as well the production is of course all the phases have been redefined to be ethical and eco-friendly. For example, we don't use toxic glue, but only natural glue. And of course, also we have inaugurated a virtuous way of reprocessing the waste. So basically, all the wood that it's waste, we retrieved. We reprocess it in pellet, and we use this pellet to warm it up the company during the winter and to use the air conditioning in the summer. So this is a company that partially doesn't buy energy from outside. We produce the energy that we need.
Yeah. And you've been involved in this as a company long before the term sustainability became, trendy and talked about. It's something.
No, of course, it's nothing that you can start one day to the other. It's something that you have to plan. Of course, since we are part of Portonafrau, we had the opportunity also to make some investment. We have covered, for example, our roof with the solar panel completely. So we are making step forward in accordance with the Italian law, because also the Italian law is a big deal.
Oh yes, yes. No one wants the Italian law after them.
So we are not in California. We are in Italy, so we have to respect the times.
Yeah,
you know that the bureaucratic structure need to do this kind of things. You know, but this is another issue. We are in time of election now. You know, this week is gonna be the election.
There's been sort of quite a movement in the last few years towards pieces that are really crafted and have a lot of quality. I think the last few years have made people think about not just sustainability, but just sort of having pieces that mean something, that lasts, that's timeless. Is that, I mean, obviously that is a real sort of center point of your work.
Yeah, definitely. I spend myself almost my time. For me, is a mission to educate my clients to this concept. You know, because usually the trends, you know, of product. Maybe you can tell better than me. Usually, design product. More than 5 years is difficult, you know.
Yeah, we became a little bit too much like fashion.
Yes. Yeah.
I think our calendar became so heated.
Yes.
And the novelty was so important that you always had to be launching, always.
Launching.
And I remember Franco saying, but I don't want to launch something unless I really believe it's ready to be born, right? It's our calendar. It's not just. It's season,
not because it's
right?
autumn,
autumn,
winter.
We need
spring, summer.
Yeah. I mean, we have to get. Fashion has to change, and I think furniture has to go back, well, where people can afford to invest in slow furniture. I think there's almost a moral sort of weight on them to do so.
Yes, there's definitely a moral obligation.
Like the patrons of the past,
yes.
You have to invest in the craftsmen, you have to invest in the pieces that will last.
Yeah. And I think that, do you feel that there will continue to be that demand now for pieces that do last? Do you see a sort of a tide change?
I think it's those individual conversations, isn't it? You've got to decide as a brand or as a maker or as a designer what you stand for. As
a purchaser.
Yes, exactly. And if you stand for, buying something that speaks to you, and you'll take the time to listen to the story of the maker and to listen to the story of the company, then there are those people. And as a company, we have to find them and seek them out and take the time. So I'd much rather, have 10 conversations with my clients than do 500 mini makeovers, where you sort of splash value here and there and then walk away. It's what you want to do with your time. Yeah. And finding, the people who value that sort of investment.
Yeah, what I'm noticing is that our audience, our potential clientele, they are getting more educated with the time.
Yes.
This is an evidence, and it's very good for us, because they are starting to understand that it's better to buy a piece of furniture that is going to last for years rather than be only attracted by the trends of the moment.
Yes.
Because if they buy a good piece of furniture, they put in their house, every day that they see, they watch at it, they are always surprised about the beauty. They never get bored about the beauty.
So this is art, actually.
This is art,
functional sculpture.
Yeah. Yes,
it's not just something to sit on.
Yes, and then we talked about this earlier about the fact that sort of people think in terms of passing things on to generations, and often that's money. People think automatically about money or houses, but actually furniture is an important part of that as well. And you can only do that if, it is well made. It has the craftsmanship there. It's got a timeless quality that your grandchildren would want to have it, and those things are increasingly important. And that's as sustainable as we could possibly get by passing on furniture.
Exactly. It has a long life
yeah,
cycle,
yeah, Yeah.
That's also sustainable,
Yes,
somehow,
yes,
because these are pieces that has definitely a longer life cycle compared to standard furniture, piece of furniture. Yes.
But I love that idea that you said of how many hands have touched that piece. And then of course, as you use it, your hands will touch that piece. I have pieces of my grandmother, she was a huge collector. And I feel that in my DNA. I feel that in my children's DNA. They love, these collections. And I love the idea that when I touch something, I know that her hand was there. That's, and machines will not do that.
They will never reproduce that, will they?
No, that's right.
And I think sometimes we forget the real, we often talk about furniture as pieces, which they are, but sometimes we forget the human and emotional connection we can have to a piece. A piece that was given to you by a late, a late relative, a grandmother. I'm sure I bring the royal family up again, but I'm sure that they even treasure and even more, their mothers, grandmothers' pieces, and so there can be such strength and warmth and comfort with pieces. So they mean so much more than just being wood or being a chair. There is an emotional connectivity that we all need to continue having and enjoy. Yeah. And with that, I'm going to ask you, which are your favourite pieces from the collection?
I know Staffan's is the double rêve. I love the 22 chair, and I remember when we launched Sue Crew, the editor of House and Garden, took one look at it, and we'd actually horribly put something on it saying "Don't sit," and she went, "But of course I'm going to sit here." And sat in it like a throne. Again, Her Majesty keeps coming back. But I looked at it and I thought, but this chair, I love this chair, so that's mine. Yeah.
And yours always is it like choosing a favourite child?
No, it's difficult.
Are you allowed to choose a favourite child?
I like a lot of pieces, of course, for different reasons. Of course, I'm always enthusiastic to approach new collections because it's nice to see the genesis of a product coming out from the prototypation. And I also I have to say, our new direction, that we are trying to take to, let's say, introduce this beautiful collection also to younger generation, because that's also our honor, our duty, to also to expand, the clientele of Ceccotti Collezioni. So I like all the design from Studio Draw, like for example the Lisa chair. I like a lot because it's obvious a good combination between let's say mass production and craftsmanship, but it's a good direction in my opinion, to create something that has a younger style. So I like everything that Studio Draw, like for example, also see this sideboard as designed for us. But of course, this is a beautiful piece. This is a piece that doesn't have a specific destination in the house. You can put it everywhere.
You can imagine this.
The entry of the house, in the bedroom. So it can be used as of course, like a living area, but as well like an eye-catching pieces.
But I think Stellage has come into my top 3.
Yes, I was going to use the opportunity to say my favourite.
Is that your favourite?
There was a sort of torn, really. But I think having sat here for the duration of this talk, I just want to sort of go home with it. Basically, I won't be allowed to go home with it, but it's nice to dream. But it's beautiful and comfortable and all things. I think what is great about your pieces also is that they're not over-designed. And when I say over-designed, they form natural curves and movement, quite fluid design, but they don't take away the actual prime role of what they're meant to do. And essentially, this is meant to be a comfortable chair, and so it looks beautiful and it's well made, but it's fit for purpose. And so many designs can look beautiful, but not actually fit for purpose. And you sit on it, and you have backache. But this is good. Yeah, well, this is beautiful. So thank you very much. Thank you both. I mean, I would love to take any questions. Please don't be shy. We're all together here. There are no strangers. There are no strangers in this room. So please, do you have any questions or comments even?
You've answered everything.
So are there any pieces? I mean, does anyone want to talk about their favourite piece in terms of what they've seen or looking at now, or any questions about specific pieces? Yes, please.
So related to COVID, like the design world has changed quite a lot. But has it done anything on your inspiration regarding to designing like furniture or doing the isolation? Is it changed something of the next collections that you're producing or launching?
That's a great question.
Yeah, it's a big question. Well, have to say that in a very sincere way that somehow within this the COVID situation, the home has regained new value, because the people started to think about staying at home rather than going out. So furniture are part of the home. So probably many clients thought about buying some new furniture to use the house in a better way. Well, there is maybe one item that I think that most more than others in this new collection is fitting this concept of leaving the house deeply, is the Galimede, which is this one that we have really created for, let's say, for a person which is leaving the home in a different way. So also working in the home, So we thought about all the person that they were obliged to work from home, and maybe in the future there will be more with this. So I think this is the perfect item that it's expressing this bad moment that we have been living,
Zoom calls.
Yeah. And of course, COVID has created problem also for the creativity, because we could not invite the designer in our company. The relation was very difficult. So we had tough time also because of this. Yeah.
Monique, were you doing much designing during the time? Were you able to?
We were so busy because a lot of clients suddenly had all of this time that they weren't spending commuting. And so I think we were more productive during COVID than probably we've ever been. And I think it was good and bad. It was very bad for boundaries. I think you have to, to have a healthy family life, you have to say, right, I'm not working anymore, now I'm your mother. And that was super hard, actually, because I still, that buffer zone where you transition between one identity to another was gone.
Yes. That is the commute.
Yes, the commute, exactly.
Yeah.
You leave one world and you buffer, and then you enter another. So that was gone. So I think a lot of us will have to regain some of those boundaries between home and work, because I do think it's important that they're slightly separate. For access to our clients, we understood that actually if we met with them once a week and that they always made time for us, say on a Friday afternoon, and wherever we were in the design period, we'd share. So it would be design workshop. This is where we're at. So rather than them having to take a half day off work and just be inundated with decisions and information and a 4-hour meeting, you know, we tend to do the kind of most important rooms first, and then by the end we'd be like, yeah, whatever. And so then you come back and you think, oh my goodness, these kids' rooms are dreadful, because that's, you know, where we all lost energy. So chopping up the projects, spending time with them digitally or online, and involving them in the creative process was something that we are now doing generally going forward. So that was great. You know, so good and bad.
Yeah, that's great. And then anyone else?
Good question. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
It's not so much a question. Sorry, I've got a creaky voice because I was talking a lot yesterday. But it's the idea that Ceccotti is reinventing pieces from the past and putting them in a modern context, but also slowing things down. The idea that that the pieces, when you enter the Ceccotti world, it almost feels like, and Monique made a very good point, that you almost feel like you're in another world. Everything slows down, everything is a little bit calmer, everything is just very, very beautiful. And that comes through in the craftsmanship. And you know, the chair that you're sitting in, that's very that's integral into that journey, that you're taking a piece and breathing new life into it and reimagining it in its context, but bringing it into the 21st century, because it would have been lost, it would have sunk beneath the waves, and I think that that's really admirable. The idea that that pieces aren't, it's not fast fashion. It's not being churned out seasonally again and again and again. That these are pieces that are going to stand through the generations, and I think that that's something that it embodies the idea of sustainability, so that you want something to last, and I think that is really.
That's what you must have seen, you know, when you picked it for
for
your edits.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you know, I think that anyone who's familiar with World of Interiors anyway sort of knows that we're not a trend-led magazine. You know, it's about time, it's about individuality, it's about timelessness, it's about craftsmanship. And there were all qualities that I saw in the piece. And, you know, I think that the sign of a good piece is one that you believe truly can outlive you or will outlive you, because that is the ultimate in design. It outlives you because it's made well, and it will appeal to people now and in 50 years and in 50 years on. And that's the best you can do with design, and that's the legacy that I'm sure Ceccotti will always have.
Yeah.
So,
thank you.
If anyone has any more questions.
That's beautiful, full stop.
Well, I mean, thank you very, very much. Thank you to our brilliant panelists who just made my work so easy. It's been wonderful to just get that sort of deep dive into the world of Ceccotti and what they do with the pieces and the sort of the work that goes behind the brand. Often we see brands, we see showrooms, we see pieces, and it's always good to know about the stories behind them. And it's only places, sort of brands like Ceccotti, that truly have wonderful stories about, you know, about how they've been made, the history behind them. And I hope that you've all had a wonderful, you know, sort of wonderful talk, and you found it insightful and engaging. So thank you very much. And what we would love, I hope, is that we can, you know, sort of have a closer look at the pieces.
Of course,
stroke, touch, drool, but not on the pieces, but you can drool. And I you know, and thank you very much. You've been a delight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Busola.